So I welcome all of you on behalf of ABS India, and we welcome you for this interesting webinar. The topic for this webinar today is higher profitability using better genetics and advanced reproductive technologies. This, I think, is very pertinent in these times when the dairy farming has become challenging due to increased cost of production, due to difference in the monsoon patterns, due to increase in the cost of feedstuff, due to problem of male calves, due to problem of infertility in the dairy farming, and all these things, they definitely dent the profitability of the dairy farmer. I am hopeful that this webinar would definitely give you some insight into having solutions and answers to these recurring problems. Our expert speaker today is Dr. Arvind Gautam, who is the Managing Director of ABS India, and he would be taking this through this webinar. He's a veterinarian himself, and he has worked a lot in terms of improvement of genetics in India for the last several years. Before he starts this presentation, I would like to take you through a few slides which would tell you about something about the company, the genetics company ABS. So the company is Genus PLC. The company is listed in the London Stock Exchange, and it has different verticals. ABS is the vertical which is involved in dairy genetics, and it is working a lot in India as well as outside India in a lot of countries. Another sister concern, Genus, under the Genus umbrella. Can you please mute? Yes, please. Thank you. So another sister concern is the IVB, or the In Vitro Brazil. This is the largest embryo transfer company in the world. And whatever embryo transfers are happening as on date, almost 70% of those are being conducted by this single company. So this is working a lot in terms of in vitro fertilization and transfer of sexed as well as conventional embryos. Then we have PIC, a pig improvement company. It is the largest pig breeding company in the world. And then we have Promar International. It is an agri consulting company which deals with consultation in the field of agriculture and dairying. And Genus in
We lost you, sir.
We can't hear you, sir.
Sir, we lost you.
Shekhar, can you take over? So, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
What about the other participants?
Yeah, so I think there is a power breakdown there where Rahul was speaking. So I will take over that. Just bear for a second. Is the screen visible now? Am I visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Correct. So we'll continue from there because there's a power failure at that location. So Genus Intelligent he was talking about is the R&D arm. It is the R&D division that feeds into the other divisions based on the species it is working on. The sex semen technology, which is the most advanced global technology today, is also come from the Genus Intelligent. And if it is relates to dairy, it goes to feed ABS. If it is for the embryos, goes to feed IVB. And if it is regarding pigs or regarding consulting work, it feeds into the other divisions. Well, our vision is that we're pioneering animal genetic improvement to help nourish the world. Break that into three pieces. Pioneering because we have been pioneering right from 1940s because we are the oldest and the largest animal genetics company starting from 1941. First one to freeze semen, first one to produce calf from the frozen semen, first one to even produce the containers that we use even today. And also first to do genetic mating services, cloning, everything. Animal genetic improvement, we are only in animal genetics and nothing. That's our motive, and we are super specialized in this, and we don't do any other work. And help nourish the world because we believe it's a food business that we are all into, because you people are basically feeding the mouths. And why it is so important, we'll discuss a little later. So, but all this in order to produce protein, a wholesome protein, more affordable protein all around the world. These are the colored 8 countries where we have our own production: US, Canada, Brazil, England, Italy, India, and Australia. And from these places, we ship genetics to more than 80 countries around the world. Uh, this is what we do actually with the Genome Science platform, and we work in all the 3 sectors. Outside India, we work a lot in the beef as well. This is just to show how, from the first in the world to how, we were able to actually produce and bring those innovations um, to the world. So I think this is it. So after this, I'll share the main presentation for today. And by way of introduction, since Rahul is not here, so I am Arvind Gautam. I work for ABS. And today we'll discuss the higher profitability using better genetics and advanced reproductive technologies. Well, this is an important topic. In fact, a lot was said by Rahul, especially during the times when we are going through a pandemic where the food has become even more important. Sometimes we have a problem of plenty. This is the time when, the restaurants are closed, people are not buying, the milk value added products is not moving. Milk is really not getting lifted. Dairy processors are working at lower capacities. So this is a tough time. However, food, we're still going. Other concerns are almost, on the verge of wiping out. So we'll discuss this. And if we see what are our objectives, whether we are a small farmer having 2 or 3 or 4 cows, or having a mid-sized dairy farm or the large dairies, or we are the milk processors, or we work in the value-added services or in the retail, all share the common thread, and that thread is profitability. So that is the common objective that we all share. What we need is a cow to be more profitable. And when I say cow to be more profitable means our dairy operations to be more profitable. We need to produce a more profitable cow that gives more on the economic traits rather than only on the phenotypes. How can we do that? Well, today there are ways and means. There is technology available. Uh, People are adopting it. There is more need to further adoption, and we will see how we can do this. That's the objective of this presentation. When we talk about profitability, but we have a bigger challenge because we are the least per animal productive, amongst the major dairy markets. So if you move to Europe or Australia, there's 6,000, 7,000 plus per animal, and you go on to US and Canada, you get about 11,000. In US, we are talking about 12,000 this year. Uh, I'm talking about the first lactation as per the National Milk Register. We are the world's largest dairy market, but with the world's largest cattle population. So our per animal productivity is very, very dismal. If we do not improve this 1400 or 1500, then the profitability will always be in question. The the call of the hour is to work through scientific management, have some scientific approach so that we can increase this per animal productivity and we can produce more from less. So that's how we will be more profitable. But how can we do that? Uh, when you ask farmers, we also did a survey and we asked farmers, what are your needs? So there were some very striking needs that come, and that we'll discuss and do we have a solution. He said, I need more females. That's right, because male doesn't give any production to him, doesn't give any, you know, um, any income. So he needs more female. But what if he gets more female? He says, I need more high milk producing females because they need to give more milk. This is okay. And if he gets that female that produces high milk, he needs milk is not sufficient. I need higher fat and higher SNF because that's what I'm getting paid for. Milk, fat, and sometimes SNF also, but predominantly on the milk and the fat. He says, even if he gets that animal, which is female, high producing, high fat, he needs more fertility. He wants it to become, pregnant again and again and again, because there's no point having a female with giving high milk with high fat, but not getting pregnant. So he needs better conception rate, a better fertility. Even if he gets that, then he needs low mastitis as his farm, because that's a very, very, economic disease. I will not say it is a serious disease, but I think it is an economically very, very serious disease because it directly affects the production and also the future of that particular udder. And even if he is able to do that, he said, I need less dystocia. So if I've produced a female that's high fat, conceives pretty quickly, calf a year, no mastitis, but if it delivers and gets dystocia, and then, there is some health issues with the cow or with the calf, it's problem. So he doesn't need that. He wants easy calving. The veterinary aid is available, not available sometimes at very different hours in the hinterland of the country. So he says, I don't need to get into all this. Then he said, even if the calf is born proper, I need less hoof and leg problems because I need better locomotion. If the cow goes lame, it affects the production because that's straight away a loss to him. So he needs a cow that lasts longer in his herd and has a high productive life. So do we have a solution to these today? Well, we'll look if we can. And if we talk to the milk processor on the other side, because that's the other spectrum of the trade, he says, I need more milk and more profit. Yes. He says, I need more fat and SNF. That's correct. He says low cell count. He's more bothered about the milk quality today. So milk quality is a concern. He said, I don't need any antibiotic residues, health issues, pesticide residues, health issues. And, believe me, because of this COVID, we have become more food safety conscious than we would have been even in 10 years. So what this COVID has taught us in 2 months, 3 months is we were not actually learning for last many years. Nobody was talking about food safety. Now we are finicky. Even if we get a product or even a milk packet, we first wash it with the soap. So we have gone to that level and we are talking about safety of the food that we are consuming. And most of us are not consuming what we used to because of this pandemic. We have cut down on certain things. Aflatoxicosis free milk, yes, they need that. And then they need more milk from the economic zone, means which is closer to their plant, dairy processing unit, so that they don't incur a lot of transportation cost in order to get that milk. And then affordable price. So it's a trade-off. If they get affordable, the farmer get less. And if they don't, the farmer gets little better. But then that's what their needs are. So do we have solutions for this? I think yes. So the answer for both, that do we have a solution for the farmer and do we have a solution for the processor today? The answer is yes. And that's exactly what we'll do. But in order to do that, we need to have a cow that's more productive, right? More profitable that we are seeing. So how to get that cow? But if we get that cow, once she's born, once that heifer is born, what can we change? There are three compositions to any successful scientific managed commercial dairy farming. One is the genetics, second is the nutrition, and third is the management. It's a combination of these three that makes the animal more profitable and productive. But what can you change, after birth? You can change nutrition. You can give him a favorable environment as far as nutrition goes. You can change your practices, improve, give them cow comfort. All other measures are available. But what you can't change is the genes that she is born with. So you can't change the gene. Whatever is she's born with, she's born with. Whatever we are born with, we are born with. We can't change her height. We can't change her complexion. No matter how many fair and lovelies you use, we use, a lot of Complan, Bonvita, whatever. We just can't grow taller because that's not in our genes. It is already decided. We are born with that particular gene. We can't change it. The only thing that we can do is actually make sure that our next generation is better and they become taller or they become, more healthier or better conformation. So we can make any changes in the next generation, but not what you're born with. So quality genetics is something that's very, very important, and you need to decide even before the calf is born, because you can control how profitable that cow is going to be. So that's very, very important. But how? So let's spend about a couple of minutes here on what the genetics is. So genetics is basically a science of the heredity, what we get from our parents and our parents got from their parents. But how it gets expressed is also part of it. So these are the physical and chemical properties, what is transmitting from one generation to the next, but it also contains how it is going to express. Same parents, 5 children, different heights, different complexions, different, abilities in terms of bone conformation. Um, even there are many things in terms of diseases, more adaptable or more resistant or more prone to certain diseases, but both all belong to the same parents. So that is because how these genes are getting expressed and how it is getting influenced from the earlier generations. That's all genetics. Now, if you talk about genetics in a broad sense, I will say in a layman's language, it has two configurations. One is the structural and one is the productive. Like, for example, if you relate it with yourself or with humans, there's a structural conformation, how the people in Northeast would be, how the people in the hills would be. They would be a little shorter in height, right? Then different than in the south, the west of India. And this is what is called a structural conformation. Some states have taller, some are shorter. Netherlands, Holland's very tall, but in India it's average. You go to the hills area, it's there. So these are all structural conformations. Then the other one is the productive conformations. Means if there is there is a person who runs the marathon, is generally Ethiopians or Kenyans, and also that's a productive trait. So that's basically how their genetic makeup is. If there's a gymnast, it's going to be Russians or Chinese, and it's basically all that genetic makeup that has happened over the years. So that's what the productive traits in terms of cow is: the milk, fat, protein, composition. So these are production traits. And the other ones are the functional traits within the production. So functional traits are those traits. If you don't have that, then that's going to make losses. That's going to add to your losses. Like udder composition, feed composition, the fertility rate, or the daughter pregnancy rate, or the productive life, as we discussed. So if there's a cow, she has very good production trait, but she's not fertile. So that's a functional trait. It's a loss because you're not getting it. And functional traits, if they're not correct, they're going to add to your losses, and minimizing losses is also the profitability. So if you're able to minimize the loss, you're able to increase the profitability on the other side. With the production traits better, you can have better. But what about the health traits? So they're also part of the structural configuration. like how is going to be the body size, how it is going to be the strength, how easy it is going to carve, what is the somatic cell score. So it's a good health, because otherwise she's going to have higher mastitis, or the milk quality is going to be bad. Transition right, how from the dry to the production, the metritis, ketosis, and other metabolic disorders, how are they happening? So that's the transition period. So there's a way, there are certain cows which are more prone to these transition diseases, and there is a method that you can control, and we're going to know that. So all this encompass genetics and genetic makeup. That's what you need to decide even before you try to produce a more profitable cow. There are 5 sources by which you can make genetic progress, and we'll discuss each one of them here. Sires, what bull you choose, because bull is half the herd. 50% is going to come from there. Usage of dams, how you're going to use your own dams which are there at the farm. If you have 10, 20, 40, 50 cows, how you're going to use them. So that's very important. Selective mating of the dams. Which dam should get which bull, right? So unless you know this is the good cow and she should get a good bull. So our ultimate aim is to create best heifer out of our best cow. There's no point in creating a heifer from the cow which is the poorest in the herd. There is much more advantage if you create the best heifer from your best cow. So there is selective mating involved. Then selection of the cows. So once the cows are born, then how do you select them on the genetic merit? So that's another way of having a genetic progress. And then using advanced technologies. If I use technology A versus B versus C, or a combination of all this, can I advance the genetic progress? Can I increase the genetic gain? So that's what we are going to discuss, and surely you can, and we'll discuss few of them. This is just a simple table which I've tried to explain how the US has done it. So USDA, very important to note on the first row, it says before 1937. So before 1937, they used to select animals or the bulls for insemination or natural service on the phenotype. How does it look like? Tall, stout build, like what we see in India. So I must also tell you that India, Pakistan, maybe to some extent Bangladesh, nobody else looks at the picture of the bull, that semen that you're using. No one. If you go out in Europe, US, Canada, Latin America, Australia, New Zealand, their sire directories will not have even a bull's picture, not even one. Because they say it's not the bull that I'm getting basically the daughters out of this bull. I must know how the daughters are performing. So if you can give me daughters data, this is good. If you can show me daughter's picture, good. If you can show me his sister's picture, good. So I know what way I'm going to get. But from 37 to 62, they moved to a model which started to include daughters and also the dam's value. And in 62, they stopped that. Do you believe that today, out of 56 semen stations in the country, except us, all 55 are still in the pre-1962 era, because they talk only about the dam's milk. They don't even talk about the daughter's milk. So the genetics that we are producing is equivalent to pre-1962 of what US used to do. And then they moved to the sire model, in which they used to take the total herd average, the season average, the fluctuations in the year. So they used to take the entire value, not only on the dams or the daughters. Then they moved to the full pedigree model, where the full pedigrees were involved, and also included foreign daughters subsequently, because the semen that got exported from US to England to Australia, so how their daughters are performing, their data was also included. And then came something that changed the entire world. And then came the genomic models. So there, you don't need to wait for 5 years to know how this bull's daughter is performing. So if I have an animal today, he is a male calf at your farm, and if you want to see how his daughters are performing, you'll have to wait for 2 years for him to actually grow adult, start producing, then you'll cross. Then the heifer, after 10 months, the heifer will be born, and then she will grow old. About 15, 16 months, you'll cross, and then she'll become 10 months, run through the pregnancy. And after 5 years, you will come to know when the daughter comes into milk whether this bull is good or not. This is what was happening around the world before that. But now you just take a sample, take DNA, run the DNA marker study, and you know whether the bull is worth to be kept or not. The particular cow is worth to be kept or not. You can have your genotyping for the cows. And then we are now talking about biological models where, apart from these genomic studies, we're also talking about the disease resistance. So creating animals which are resistant to certain diseases. So this is how they have moved. And I'm very sorry to say that we are still in the pre-1962 era. And that very much explains what we have done with the per animal productivity. How do we select on the traits? Not long ago in 1970s, US also select on the milk and fat, if you see the first column. Then they realized protein is important too. They gave weightage to protein. And then they said when they achieved these objectives, they said longevity, why cow should last longer. And somatic cell score, so better quality milk, low somatic cell count. That had an average of minus. So lower the better. So it had a minus score. Then they said we need more udders, we need better legs and feet. The body is growing too larger, too big, because larger the animal, just remember 2% of the entire body weight goes into just eating, a feed of about 2% of the body weight is required just to survive, just to keep her alive. So higher the body weight, the higher the amount of feed required to stay her alive. And then she'll eat to maintain. Whatever extra she eats over the survival and maintenance is what is going to result into production. So they realize that the cows are growing bigger, of no use, so they have to become shorter and moderate in size. So they included that. They had a negative score, larger the cow, negative the score. Then they said pregnancy rate, they should have better pregnancy, calving ease, better conception rate. But point to note here is that by 2014, they were -1 is from the milk. So they have achieved their objective for the milk. They're no more going for the milk selection because they've achieved 12,000. They're more bothered about the health traits, the other production traits. That's more important. Now, why? Because this is what the equation of genetic progress is. So you will have a genetic gain equal to selection intensity into variation into heritability and divided by generation interval. The higher intense your selection is, suppose I am selecting on milk, I select very high amount of milk, the sire that is having the highest amount of milk, because I'm selecting. It's not that if I am a 10-liter cow and I have an option between 20, 30, 40, 50-liter sire, I should select 20, then 30, then 40. No, this is what my need. If my need is milk, straight away I go to 50 because my intensity, selection intensity has to be the highest. So higher the numerator, higher would be the genetic gain. At the same time, smaller the denominator, higher would be the genetic gain. So if I take, suppose, a selection intensity variation and heritability value is 50 and do it in 10 generations, 50 divided by 10 is 5. But if I do it in 2 generations, 50 divided by 2 is 25. So that is why I make higher genetic gain. It takes time and technology to do it. US has also done it. So if you see, they also had this pendulous kind of udders, not great legs and feet, changed to, more conformed, more production traits, udder moving backwards, wider, compact, better depth. So they have made all these changes. And we are in a position, they have done it in 70 years. We are in a position to do it in, about 10 to 15 years because they have already invented the wheel. But this all will depend on what we decide today. So if today is the decision making, then you take about few years down the road to do it. Remember selection intensity variation divided by the generation interval, the faster you do it, the better it is. But how do I do it? So the first and foremost solution is use genomics. If I have these 4 cows and I need to sell 2 of them because I need cash or whatever, how do I know which is the best cow? All 4 have just come into milk about, say, 20 or 30 days. All are milking almost similar. But how do I decide? So if I have genomics, if I have an option to take the DNA and test it and run it, I'll come to know that these are the genomic values of the milk to them, because milk is what I need. So the cow on the extreme left is plus 1,000. The cow on the right is plus 490, and the second from the right is minus 1,000. So that means the cow on the left is going to produce 1,000 pounds higher amount of milk than the average cow in the country. The cow second from the right is going to produce 1,000 pounds less than the average. So my decision is pretty quick that I'll sell the middle 2 ones. The left and the right cow is much better genetically and going to give me more milk. So that's one help that genomics does. But this is just to demonstrate this. But it's not so easy. When you're choosing, you need to actually choose what is the hawk angles here. Very clear hawks, very clear, alignments from, if you have an imaginary line here, it should actually run through the middle and onto the pin bone. Then the angle of the feet has to be such that if you see this, it should go over the knee and below the shoulder. The forudder attachment should be proper, straight and tight. The udder depth should be as higher as possible from the hock joint. The teats should be all 4 visible from behind. The rear teats should be little closer, front teats little wider, right in the center, but the udder height should be as higher as possible towards the tail. So this is the highest point where the milk is going to be stored, so higher the better. It should not hang in the front or the pendulous, but it should go behind. These are the all traits that are available that you can choose. Apart from this, what is the rump angle? What is the body structure? A moderate cow, better udder width, so that has a more milking holding capacity, higher distance of the pin bone, so it's more calving ease, and it calves pretty early and easily. So this is how you select. The genomics has given you that power. You have this data available with you right away. So if you want to make a decision, this is an example. So it gives you what is the type, what is the udder, legs and feet, and these are columns on the right. Here it gives whether it's going to be the improver or shorter. If I need to have teats little longer, I will use the teat length little longer. And if I want teats are longer and I want the next generation to have little shorter, I will use a bull that has a negative on the teat. So I have each and every point available apart from the pregnancy rates and somatic cell scores on the health traits, productive life, and milk, protein, fat, and other values as well. Today, I can decide what I need to breed, what I need to get, so that my goal is always to produce a more profitable cow. That's what our goal is. So I asked a farmer, I'll tell you, he says, it doesn't bother if I get a white cow or a black cow or a black buffalo. It can be a magenta cow and it can be a green buffalo, as long as it gives me more milk, more fat. Very clear goals. So he said that I need a more profitable cow, more economical cow, because that's where my fortunes are linked to. So your goal should be to breed a more profitable cow. If the trait that you want to improve, it's a poor udder is what we are facing a challenge with in our herd, we need to select a bull that has a beautiful udder qualities or improvers of the udder, so that the next generation has a much more improved udder. What can the genomics do? So this is a graph of about 2,000 heifers, the farm. Well, we'll not have 2,000 heifers in India, but even if you have 500, 200, 100, the same rule applies. If you see the genomic values, the lowest is here 69 in the net merit, and highest is 970 here. This is a scattered plot of all the genomic values of these heifers. Net merit is if I use, say, a bull A and bull B. If the bull A net merit is 500, bull B net merit is 600, that means bull B, if I'll use bull B, I will make $100 more profit on that economical cow over and above that 500 bull. This is average of US. So if you see any bull today in India having a net merit of 500, that means if that bull is used in US, it's going to give them $500 per cow per lactation benefit. So when you see this scattered graph, lowest is 69, highest is 970, but the average is 512. Ideally speaking, I would like to keep the ones on the right hand side, not on the left hand side of this curve. But I can afford to remove 20-30% of the cows, not more, because I need to create a replacement and need to get going with the production. What if I cull these lower 20%? Sorry to use the word cull, that option is not available to us. So we should be even more careful. What the US dairy or the European dairy or an Australian dairy can do, we just cannot. So if 20% of the cows are removed, lower ones, the average genetic merit moves from 512 to 564, and that means $52 per cow per lactation gain. That means roughly about 3.5 to 4,000 rupees. And if we have 100 cows, it's 4 lakh rupees. This is how the profitability in the economics work. But we just can't remove these 20% of the cows. The slaughter is banned. We have to keep the unproductive cows. That even increases our cost. That even affects the profitability of the dairy. Even if you want to sell, there is no return value. There is no salvage value out of it. So replacement cost is very high. So it is very, very important actually to keep improving our genetic score, because if I need to have an unproductive cow, I am either stuck with that cow for years, or I remove and I get a new cow which is highly priced, and even give this to, even for a goshala they charge money. So everywhere this is a problem. But what can we do? We'll also discuss this. So I'm parking this question for the time being, because it'll answer it later in the presentation. But this is very clear that if you have a genomic score, you can rank, you can know what your score is, what your net merit score is, what you want to be. Because ultimately it's the profit that actually counts. We want more milk, yes, more profitability, and from the commercial operations, that's what we are. And that was our first objective on the slide, have a profitable cow in operations. So if I do genomic of my cow, if I know my cow is worth this net merit, this has this udder score, this has this feet and leg score, this is minus, I need to improve it, then I have this option. There's a GenoCheck facility available. With this, I know what is the genetic score of my cow. If I want to improve, what is the bull that I should be doing? Today, I don't know. My genetic cow score is 50, and I'm selecting a bull which is not even 20. So I don't expect it to improve my next generation. It will even go in reverse direction. So I don't know. I have 100 cows, score is from minus 10 to 50, and I'm using the bull 20. So I get improvement in some, lower 20, but I get no improvement in the top ones. My average score remains the same, and the productivity remains the same. That's the biggest challenge that is happening, and it is actually happening. So this is a technology available. Use genomics, get your cow score, and then use genetic mating system. So which cow actually should be bred with which bull. You can set your own herd scores based on your own cow scores, that my cow score is 50. I want them to be 100. Put them into a computer. Computer gives you 5 or 6 different bulls that you can use. Avoid inbreedings automatically, because the computer takes care of the pedigree of those bulls and the pedigree of your cows, and then throws you 6 or 7 options that you can choose so that your herd can become 100. And all those 7 bulls would be, much above 100 because you want your herd to be 100. So you can run this provided you have the genomics codes, and you can have your own customization as well. So genomic science allows you to jump ahead of the competition, the slide says, and really, if you do that, you will definitely bound to produce a higher genetic makeup or a higher genetic average of your herd. What is the second option? Second option is create more dairy heifers than needed. If you need 10, create 15. If you need 15, create 20. If you need 20, create 30. Always and always create more dairy heifers than you need, because that's what's going to give you profit. How can you do that? Use sex cell semen. Sex semen is available, and higher its selection intensity. So if milk is my criteria or fat is my criteria, then I use a sex semen of a bull that is the highest improver of the fat, and go for the highest. Don't go for the medium or lower values, because it's also going to improve. Just go for the highest, so that higher the selection intensity, remember that formula, the higher would be the genetic gain. So that's how you can get greater selection gain, because you'll select for the fat. And then there are other advantages as well, which you'll see in the next slide. But a second thumb rule is create more dairy heifers than you need. What is going to be the impact? Suppose these are the 10 cows in the first generation. In F1, we use on the left hand side the conventional semen, and on the right hand side is the sex cell, that is the sex semen. What is going to do? It's going to give me 5 cows and 5 bulls. So the red one is the female. And then further, and then these 5 will give me 2.5 and then 2 and 1. So by F4, F5 generation, F4 generation or F5 generation, how much I'll have? I'll have about 10.5. Well, I'll add about 10 more cows or heifers, which are going to give me milk. But here, if I use, it gives me 9 and then 8, 7, 5.5, 4.5. So put together about 34. So in 5 years, instead of having 10, heifers, I'll have 34. My milk production or my milk addition, considering I have a 3000 kg cow, and I'm not considering any generation to generation gain, which is always there in the text while and why I'll tell you. So considering all 3000, I'll get 31,500 extra milking capacity. But if I use sext, I get about 102 lakhs and 1 lakh and 2,000. If I convert that into money, if I convert that into say 25 rupees, no gain in the next 5 years, stay at 25, from almost 8 lakhs to almost 25, 26 lakh. So this is the big impact that's going to have. So create more heifers, create more milk. Even if you don't need these heifers, what you can do is also we'll discuss. Well, some will say the conventional semen is cheaper, and I'll say conventional semen is much, much expensive than the sex semen. Taking same example, 3000 liter cow, 25 rupees is the milk rate. You use conventional semen, 50-50 chances of a cow or of a heifer or a male cow. If it is male, the milk is gone. You are 1 year delayed, so for 1 year you not get the milk. So 3000 into 25, you can add 75,000 rupees of milk, but it's 50% chances of having a female, so only 37,500. But if you use sex semen on the right, you get 90% of chances female. So 90% of 75 or 70,000 or 75,000 is more than 67,000. So it's 6,500 to be precise. So how much is the difference? It's a loss of about 30,000. If 2 inseminations of conventional get me pregnant and 3 inseminations of sex, because sex has little overconception, even then difference of 4,400 and 1,200 destroys 2,600. If you reduce it from the 30,000 loss, you still conventional semen is 27,400 rupees costlier. So believe me, conventional semen is costlier than sex semen, and very, very costlier than sex semen because of few other reasons. This. So if you use sexed, you get better genetics because sex cell has only the top bulls in that category to be sexed. As I said, there is no point in creating more females from the worst cow. There is no point in creating more females from the worst bull. There's no point in sexing the worst bull. It's the genetics that is to be sexed. Because remember, you're not sexing anything else. You're not increasing fertility. You're not increasing other qualities of the semen. The semen stays the same. It's only the Y chromosome you're killing and you're creating more females. The good the bull, the better the dam is, the better the bull is, better would be the calf. So use the sex semen. Only those bulls go into the sexing table which are really high on the net merit. So very, very high genetic sires. So you get not only 3000 liters for 5 years, but you get an incremental gain. What happens when you get more heifers? You have more heifers, you have more milk that we have already seen how this impact is added. So how this milk is getting added. But then there's no replacement cost. So if I have to buy cow from outside or I create a heifer from inside from my best cows. If I do from inside, I don't have any bio risk. So I don't have any disease risk. I don't import any diseases into the farm. And also it helps reducing the problem of dystocia because the female's head and shoulder is smaller than the male. And then it's better, calving ease as well. All the sexed bulls also have calving ease values and they're only easy calving bulls go into the sexing, plus gets further advantage when there's more females born. More profit sources, if you get more heifers, here, it's easy to sell a good quality heifers than having good quality or bad quality, whatever quality male cows. So that's an additional source of income. And then you get a better technology. So these are the other advantages, both genetic and both financial, if you use and create more heifers. So always create more heifers. Third is use IVF technology. So what we have done till now by using genomics and by doing sex semen is, one, we have created a good cow and using good sire. That is only 50% of the genetics because sire is contributing 50% to the calf. What about the male or what about the female? So there is a female component as well. So use IVF where you select the best females, oocytes from the best females, and sperms or the semen from the top sires. If you have this, you can reduce the generation interval. In one generation interval, in one generation, you can achieve what you can do in 5, 6, 7 generations. And remember that formula of genetic gain again. Generation interval was at the denominator. We were dividing by generation interval. Lesser the generation interval, higher the genetic gain, higher the output, higher the productivity, higher the profitability. So use them. If you do not have any good donors, no problem. There are other donors available throughout the country. Use the IVF embryos and create pregnancies. What is the benefit? You get both male and female side. You reduce the generation interval, and while selecting, your selection intensity is even higher because in semen you are selecting only for the male part. When you're selecting the oocytes also, you're also selecting for the same trait for the mother also. So if milk is my criteria, highest producing female and highest, milk quality of male, when I join, I get the highest gain for the milk. Well, we have many labs. As Rahul was saying, IVB is the world's largest embryo making company. We have about 70% market share as on today. 70% of the pregnancies created from the embryos is from ABS IVB. And I'm glad to say that we have also added one lab here in India. So this India is also now on the red. Red is the ABS owned, the other ones are our affiliates. So India is also now on the map of own ABS high quality IVF lab. Then if we have done that, there are science and technology moving today. So we at Genus and ABS is working pretty efficiently on the gene editing stuff, where we work with the specific genes. We don't add anything. We just cut specific part of the genes which make them predisposed to a disease. So as we talk, there are first PRRS resistant pigs are always already on the ground. It is porcine, respiratory, and reproductive syndrome virus. There's no need to give that vaccine now anymore to those pigs, and pigs are immune to that. There's a lot of work that is going on the dairy side also, specifically Machinia, and also on the FMD and some on the BVD. But I think we're about 8 to 10 years away in having a cow that would be resistant to FMD. But that is going to be a big game changer again. So that was I was talking to. So Genomic is moving on to the biological models, taking those good genes and removing the predisposed ones. So that is also, we are pretty at the forefront of doing this. An India Dairy Index, many of you would have been seen IDI. I think it's very critical for the profitability in the Indian context. We have been using imported genetics, but what is the number one bull in US may not be number one for us. We value fat more, they don't. They need more protein. They are more fat conscious. They don't drink that much high fat amount of milk. They need more cheese. We need more fat. They need, not productive life, or say replacement cost is not very important to them or less important to them than us, because we just can't remove the cow from the herd. We don't get any residual value of that cow. So I need to have a larger, a cow that's going to serve me for larger number of lactations, more productive life, gives me more milk, more fat, easy to cow, because veterinary aid is not available all the time. Less somatic cell score, very important, because the natural climate in India is that where the bacteria and the viruses thrive, for a longer duration. Mastitis is a burning issue. Same is with the transition cows of metritis, ketosis, and mastitis. So we need to take care of that. So we need to have higher weightage on that. That's what the India Dairy Index does. So a bull that scores higher on the India Dairy Index is actually the best for India. That's more profitable. That's going to make you more profitable, and that's going to make your dairy more profitable. So always select on the India Dairy Index. When you're looking for specific bull, you can go for the specific trait, udder, feet, legs and teeth, conformation. But when you're looking for an overall improvement, just go for the IDI score. Higher the score, the better the bull. Well, at the end, you have the leading germ plants, you have the best of the technologies, producing genomics, genochecks, Excel, IDIs, embryos. But what you need is people. So you need great experts to design better breeding programs for you. You need to consult more people. You need to know more. You need to read yourself more. Make yourself more aware. How can you use this at your farm in a more profitable sense? Have some kind of a genetic audit, because whatever, I make best of the sheds, best of the milking parlors, best of the technology. And if I don't have productive animal, it's all waste. My returns will not be sufficient to even cover the operating cost. So the profitability comes from the animal. The profitability will come from the higher productive animal. Produce more from less using these technologies. And once you have it, once you have more profit, you have all the right to go and invest into even better parlor, even better shed, even better people, even better consultants, because you have that animal and you have that production to back you up. Should not be the other way around. I should not spend, I've taken a bank loan, I've spent a lot, and I've taken care of my own comfort. I have a swanky looking office just overlooking the milking parlor, and I know I need 2 into 12 milking parlor, these many herds, this cow comfort. But when it comes to buying the cow, I have bought just some pregnant cows. I don't even know what they are pregnant to. So by the time they come to calf, then they come to production, I know 4 years, 5 years later, it's not productive. So I'm not getting the returns. So always go for a more productive animal before thinking of investing into the infrastructure. Now, what is this genetic model? When I said that keep aside those 20% we can't cull. On the y-axis is the genetic merit. So higher the calf on this axis, the better is the genetic potential or genetic merit. On the right, as you move from X, from left to right, is the age. The animals grow older. It will decline in fertility, production, everywhere. So what I do, the heifers, young ones, because that is the future of the farm. The cow standing at my farm is not the future, but the calf is the future. Now this heifer, which is very high on the genetic merit and on the productive scale, and young, I want to use her to produce more of the calves. If she is exceptional, I'll use it as a donor, or I use sex semen on these young calves or the first lactation cows, which are very good in genetic merit as well, because I need to produce better calves here. So use a better bull and your next calf would be somewhere here on this graph. From second lactation, third lactation, yeah, start using conventional semen. In second lactation, use the genomic conventional semen, which is going to give you a better calf at least. But from third lactation onwards, use high fertile bulls, with the bulls that have high daughter pregnancy rate. Because the idea is to make them more conceive better and conceive faster, because they start losing on the fertility. Even in the humans, when we age, we lose the fertility. And the lower ones, which are very low on the genetic merit, they are the lowest of the genetic scale and also the oldest. What do I do with them? I can't cull them. I can't remove them. The best is make them recipient and use the IVF there. So when you use ABS neo here, so from the lowest genetic material, you use oocytes or eggs from the best cow and semen from the best bull, create the best bull which comes here, create the best calf or heifer which is here. So you are converting the lowest genetics into the highest profitable genetics, and you are still using these animals because you can't do anything with them. So use them, use their uterus to carry the pregnancy through and get you the best, and keep using sex cell on the top ones. Now at stage will come 4 years, 5 years down, where these ones will become at the lowest merit, genetic merit. So just make them, breed with the IVF and get better and use sex semen on them. On the PKC semen on the third parity, that is pregnancy king conception, it's easier to sell a pregnant calf than a non-pregnant. Make them pregnant and sell, because your genetic score is even better than the others. So it's not that you're actually selling a useless cow, but still better than others. But you have better cows to create your best heifers. So this is the genetic model. This is the more profitable model that we all should be following. Remember, ABS is a genetic and repro partner of a choice. We help choosing you the best breeding programs, create very consistent breeding cows, delivering volume and profitability, and the customer is at the fulcrum of whatever we do, and we need more profitable customers in order to have more sustainable dairy. It's not that only it is available and possible and doable in US. These are our some bull mother farms pictures, de novo cows. So their sons went on to become the top 100 bulls in the world. In fact, I'm very happy to share that in this recent site summary, SAR proof ranking change every 4 months, April, August, and December. This August, out of the top 100 net merit bulls, 85 belong to ABS. And I'm talking in terms of global. In many of those global 85 bulls and their siblings, full siblings with the same values, are here present in India. So it's not that we can do this only in US, but we can do this in India as well. And many of you must have read as well that in June 20th, ABS daughter made a record of about 76 kgs in NDRI special milk recording. So use Genomics, create more dairy heifers, use IVF, use GMS, and use IDI in order to be more profitable, get more profitable cow, get more profitable herd, and achieve what your objective is. I think with this, we have been able to answer what the farmer wanted: more female, high fat, more number of fertility, high DPR, low dystocia, low somatic cell score, less hoof problems. We have been able to address what the processor wanted: more milk. If he has more milk in the economic zone, he gets better, he gets more affordable, better quality because of the less somatic cell score, and then more to process. So I think we have found answers to this. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. I'm open to any question that you have, and I'll try to answer them. Just in case I'm not able to answer them, I'll request my other expert colleagues present in this session to answer. And if in any case, if none of us is able to answer, we'll get our ABS experts, consult them, and we'll get back to you uh, with the answers through email or whatever. But we would like to satisfy you and would like to answer your questions. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very
Sir,
much,
I
Dr.
have a
Gautam.
question.
It was an excellent presentation. And we are now open to questions. The listeners and participants are kindly requested to type the question in the meeting chat box, and we would then take the question one by one so as to make sure that everyone present in this webinar can be benefited out of this deliberation. So, Dr. Gautam, we have the first question here. So, the first question is that there has been a growing trend where more and more indigenous semen from indigenous breeds is being used in HF and Jersey cows. So, how is it going to help the productivity of these animals?
Well, I think um, there there are two parts to this answer. One is the political, which I will not touch. The other one is the genetical, which I'm very glad to answer. Well, it is very simple, as we have seen. If you use a lower productive animal on a higher productive animal, the result is going to be lower. So if you're going to use indigenous semen, which is our average indigenous productivity is 2 liters, 2.2 liters, per day. And average crossbred or exotic is about 7 liters per day. So if I'm going to use semen of 2 liters and 7 liters, definitely I'm going to expect, not better than 4. So I'm going down rather than going further. The only way to improve the profitability and the productivity is to use better and not the inferior genetics. So if you want to have indigenous genetics, keep indigenous cows and breed them with a better quality of indigenous semen. Use Sahiwal on Sahivals, use Sindhis on Sindhis, use Gir on Gir. But there is no point. Just imagine this person, gentleman in the picture, from Karnal. If he uses an indigenous semen on this cow that is giving 76 liters of milk, well, the answer is for everyone to actually very well imagine what is going to be the fate of the next generation. So if you are passionate about indigenous animals, use indigenous animals, keep indigenous animals, and use indigenous better genetics on indigenous. There is no fun in using indigenous on Holsteins or the Jerseys.
Thanks, Dr. Gautam. So, we have another question. Is ABS also engaged in selling of heifers?
Oh, well, of course, I think I just wish I could do that. Uh, but we are a genetics company. We want to be focused on creating genetics and improving the genetics. So we just create the best genetics. It's not that we don't create heifers. We create heifers, but we create heifers to create better bulls. We have our own bull mother farms where you find the best of the cows there, which will, they're used, and we use different type of genetics to create better bulls so that we can serve you better with better bulls. So our job is to create that genetics and talk to the customer and take that message to them. Other areas, I think not for us because we don't want to do each and everything. Uh, Most of our customer ask us this question every day that, we want to buy these kind of heifers. We want to buy these heifers. Do you sell them? So we don't. But there are many customers uh, who use ABS, very high quality semen, and the calves out of them, when they keep on improving further, they keep selling some heifers because they create extra. There are few farms in Punjab, there are few farms in Tamil Nadu. I can see there's a mid valley farm here, so they create extra heifers, and if they want to sell they can. um, but it's very difficult to get ABS heifer because less people sell them. But I think now there are more and more people who are getting aware of the breeding values and extra profitability by selling extra heifers, and that opportunity is opening up. So you can talk to certain ABS genetic farms that use exclusive and very high-end genetics from where they can sell the surplus heifers. But yes, the answer is we do not sell those heifers. We help you to create those heifers at your own farm.
Thanks, Dr.
Sir, I
Gautam.
have a question.
Yes, please.
Hello. Yeah.
Please go
Sir,
ahead.
now you have mentioned about the IVF technology which ABS is going to offer to our farmers. So by what time we are expecting to get your services? Like, have you launched it or you are about to launch it?
Well, a good question. So thanks for asking this. Uh, well, there are two ways to answer this. One, we don't want to offer anything which is not the best because um, when I say best, don't believe or don't think or don't take it in the way that I'm boasting about myself or talking in egoistic terms. But we have certain norms and standards to
Hello.
follow because of the global this thing. So we have already made the most advanced IVF lab in India. We are already working there, but the best conception rate comes from November to March or November to April. So what we are going to do is we are not going to offer embryo as such. We are not going to offer embryo as such. The the service on offer is the confirmed pregnancy. So you will get only and only a confirmed pregnancy and you pay only after the confirmed pregnancy. So this service is open. It has been, well, I will not say it is launched. It is getting launched pretty soon, but it is already working. We are already working there, and people are encouraged to book dates so that our team can travel to their farms and can create confirmed pregnancies. And the charges are only after 60 days of confirmed pregnancy. And this is going to be only sexed. So we're not going to offer a non-sexed pregnancy. So the ABS is going to offer only and only sexed pregnancies. But I will request you to keep watching out our website, keep a lookout for our Facebook page, and keep a lookout for our YouTube channel and Twitters. We're very shortly going to announce it. But there am, but just to tell you, uh, the target for the first year, what we said that we would like to create certain pregnancies is already done. People have already booked that. Uh, but yes, it is going to be on the field from October onwards till then every day, but then from October to March is going to be the major period where higher conception is going to happen.
Sir, I have a question. Currently, we get only semen from Brazil for the high yielding gir animals, only from one bull, that is, I think, Ganapati, which is 15,000 kgs and above. Do you have more such bulls coming where we can get semen from more such bulls from Brazil, or it's only from Ganapati?
Well, keep looking, but in this year you will get a few more.
All right.
Yeah. This year you will get few more, at least about 4 to 5 more bulls.
Okay. And my other question is only the girs have this 15,000 kg plus milk yield, whereas the Sahivals and the rest don't have, the indigenous breeds don't have. So do you have any plan to get Sahivals which are producing that high?
Well, to answer this, there is no Sahiwal which is producing that high. And few years ago, there was no Gir which was producing this high.
Okay.
So what happened in Brazil is they specifically selected for milk. As I said, selection intensity was only on the milk. And there they had the advantage because they are one of the largest beef eating population. So whatever did not fit into their criteria of the milk, they were all slaughtered. So the genes of only high genetic merit of the milk were actually roaming around in the field. I give you an example. If there are 56 semen stations in the country, it says that if you have an Holstein bull and if it produces more than 5,750 liters of milk, the dam, you can produce semen out of it. So somebody is producing for 6,000 liters, somebody is producing 6,500, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. And everything is available in the market, in the field. When you call an inseminator, he is going to inseminate whatever is in his tank. Let's be honest. And he's going to say this is the best. Now you never know, 8,000 is getting 6,000, 6,000 next generation gets 7,000, 7,000 and again next generation gets 6,000. So the total genetic remains more or less at this flat level. Had you made a law that every 4 years or 5 years, starting from 1980, in 1980, 6,000, 1985, you can't keep a bull which is less than 6,500. In 1990, you can't keep, a bull which is less than 7,000, 19 or 2,000 less than 8,000. So today would have been a day where all your bulls standing in the country would have been minimum 12,000. So the only that genetics would be prevalent in the population. But now that is not happened. They did it. So they kind of kept on removing the lower ones and kept on taking the higher ones even higher. And that took them about 80 years to achieve that. And that is how they have been able to do that. And let me also tell you, their average is also 5,000. Our average in Gir is about 3,000, but their average in Gir is about 5,500. But these are some exceptional daughters because, like this cow on the screen, gives you 76 liters. Not every cow in India is giving 70. So these bulls are selected from very high end of dams, which is not which is just, it is an exception and not the norm. So it's Sahivals, if you want to do this, we'll take another 2 years to do this. However, we are trying to work on the genomics for the Sahivals and do some study on the phenotype, genotype, and create some markers as what we have done in the Holsteins and the Jerseys. Doing it for Sahivals, Girs, and for the Murrah buffaloes, but I think that's about 4 years away. So I can give you a higher Sahiwal, but not before 4 years. At the moment, we can give you about 5,000 and 5,500.
Thank you,
sir.
Answered that, yeah.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm Dr. Gauri Shankar. Hello.
Hi, doctor.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Well impressed with the presentation of Dr. Arvind. Really informative and worth listening. One question I have.
Sure.
You are concentrating on the genetic improvement and breeding and overall genetic improvement, but what about the nutritional requirement? Do you have any programs to study the requirement of the nutrient or the nutrition program for the cows in the Indian condition? Do you have any schemes running?
Well, there is some part of nutrition and nutritional requirement and, the feed cost and other things are all integrated into the India Dairy Index.
Okay.
It's a more economic index. So
Okay.
even including the replacement value, the value of the heifer, value of the calf, it is all included. And part of that is included in the India Dairy Index. So a bull that has a higher India Dairy Index is definitely better on the nutritional requirement as well. Plus, we have a team which also works on the nutrition. So they specifically discuss people with the specific requirements in terms of nutrition so that the cow is able to perform to the best of the genetic potential that it has. Uh, and anybody who wants to work with us on the nutrition side is also welcome. We have few of the other nutritional partners as well, whom we seek our advice. And we have many MVSCs and PhDs specifically in nutrition to help people exploit the genes to their true potential.
And second thing, can we reduce the daily dry matter intake to less than 2% of the body weight with the higher milk yield and higher profitability? Going with a small body size, at the same time concentrate on the udder and other characters?
So I think what you will need to do here is, first of all, select what is the size that you need. So very small size is also not good. A moderate size cow,
Okay.
with more emphasis on the production traits and on the udders and other shape and size, placements, or whatever we discussed. That's good. Um, but the dry matter is all linked to what is the production, how much feed and what percentage of that feed and roughages you are doing. Because otherwise acidosis sets in and how much you need to do. It's basically depends on the production level as well. So what is the production level, how much silage and how much dry and how much feed should be mixed. Uh, Depending upon the cows, depending upon the production level, it can be designed. Uh, but I can tell you that for the bulls, you can keep them only on the dry matter. There's no need for anything else. But for the production cows, you need other things, other nutrition as well. So
No,
depending upon the
actually, my
production level,
question is, can we reduce the maintenance requirement by going with a smaller body frame or smaller
you
body weight?
can, you can, you can if you breed a moderate size cow, not the very high typey cows.
Okay.
So if you do typey cows, very high height, then you need to have higher. But if you want to go what the US is doing at the moment, you can.
So, in your opinion, what is that moderate size? 400 kg or 450 or 425? Anything which will fit into that. At the same time, giving some things like 7,000 kgs per lactation.
Well, it will not depend on the body weight, but I think the body conformation, the stature and the strength. So
Okay.
if you go for the type scores there, and the body conformation scores, I think a score of about 1
Okay.
is good enough. When I say 1, I mean +1. So it's a scale of -2 to +2. So anywhere between 0 to 1 is the size that we need. So if we breed larger than 1, it actually has a negative marking. And if it is less than 0, it is again negative. So anything between 0 and 1, that would be the ideal.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
I have got one question
Please go ahead, sir.
about genocheck.
Right.
How to give sample for genocheck and how it is done, what is the cost, and how a farmer outside India can join. Actually, I'm from Bangladesh.
Okay, so the GenoCheck is a facility that we give for our customers, wherein the interested customers call us. Only our people go and collect the samples. And then those samples there is a specific way to treat those samples, because there are legal issues involved between two countries of the exchange of the DNA and exchange of the samples. So generally it is done by our own team by selecting, mapping, and then putting it into a specific sample box, treating it, and then sending it for the evaluation to ABS USA, wherein we not only get the score but the average values and the interpretation as well. If you are in Bangladesh, I'm afraid there is no one in ABS in Bangladesh, but we keep working, going, coming in and out. But if you are in Bangladesh, then we can take it up offline and we can guide you how to take sample yourself and how to then, process it and then send it. So it's a little tedious job for you, but if you're really interested, then we can actually tell you. And but it's nothing rocket science. It's not that you can't do. You still can do it. As far as the the cost is concerned, the cost is about $60 per cow, because that's the courier and the testing cost. Sample actually goes to US to get tested. You can send it directly from Bangladesh as well. You can collect, send it directly, and we won't charge you 60 because that includes charges and the shipment charges as well.
I have a question.
Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes. Hi. So this is Siddharth here. I have a question about the new bull spike. How better it is from striker and brute, and tell me something more about the spike, sir.
Okay, so you have a question about the spike. So spike is the latest offering. Spike is one of the bulls that we imported this year during the lockdown. Spike is, every bull is good. Again, I'll say you need to see what you want to improve. Depending upon what you want to improve is the bull that you need to select. If you're looking only for the milk, go for spike. If you're looking for milk as well as the confirmation of the udder composite, go for brute. If you're looking for these plus the better teat sizes, placement, rump angles, go for striker. So it all depends on what that you want to improve in your herd. What problem do you see or what challenge do you see in your animals? What do you want to improve in the next generation? Depending upon that trait, you can select that bull. As far as spike is concerned, spike is a bull that has the highest productive life available in the country today. It has plus productive life of plus 6.2. It has the highest fat improver, so it has plus 76 pounds of fat value. So it is the highest fat improver in the country today. And in terms of the overall net merit, so it is also the highest net merit bull as on today. So if you are breeding your cows only on the economic value and the economic index and overall improvement, spike is the bull for you. If you're looking for specific traits, scan all the bulls, scan all the values. If you're looking for, say, higher fertility, so select the bull that has the highest DPR value, daughter pregnancy rate, and then you choose that. Spike may not be that bull, but brute can be that bull. So for you, brute becomes better. So it all depends on what you want to improve. Based on that, you can have your own selection.
Nice presentation, Arvind sir. Hello.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Another question, please.
Sure.
Actually, for Genocheck, which breed we can give sample from Genocheck? In our country, there are so many local cows, crossbreed cows. Pure HF is not here in Bangladesh. So, is it possible to do Genocheck for local, Shaiwal, and crossbreeds?
Well, for local Saivas, not yet, but for crossbreeds, which is the the Holstein crossbreeds or the Jersey crossbreeds, you can if you know the pedigree, if you know the sire and the maternal grandsire, all the more better. But you must know the sire at least. And if you know which Holstein sire or which Jersey sire was used on that cow, on that indigenous cow that produced this cow, crossbred cow, you can still give that. One second, you can also give because it's Bangladesh, and I don't know if you have some beef breeds, Angus or Simmental or whatever breeds there. But if you have some of those breeds, you can give for that also. And if you have a crossbreed in them, you can give for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
For small farmers, how to select a sire? Because all of the small farmers claim that there are issues with the delivery if you go with ABS. So in HF, how to select such that we will not have issues delivery?
Okay, so please correct me if I have understood it right. You want to say how to select a sire for the small sized cows so
Right,
that it doesn't result into any dystocia, is it?
right, right, right.
Right. Okay. So every bull comes with a calving ease score. So there is a trait which says calving ease. If you allow me and take you to that sheet. So there is a survey sire calving ease and there's a daughter calving ease,
Okay.
5.7. So if you're looking for a calving ease bull, select a bull. So this is serving sire means this, what is going to be the result of this sire means this bull. This bull has an 8.3% score. That means 8.3% chances of difficulty in delivery. That means you will need to assist. It can be a small assistance, larger assistance, doesn't mean that you need to operate, but it is some kind of a manual assistance would be required in 8% of the cases. 92% of the cases not. But his daughter will have 5.7. So his daughter, if you breed in a moderate sized cow, will have even better calving ease. So she'll only have problem in 5.7% cases. Look for these values. If it is a smaller cow or if it is a heifer, definitely look for these values. The value lower the better. Any value which is less than 8 is a calving ease bull. If you are using it in the small size cow or in the heifers, don't use this bull because it is 8.3%. Look for other bulls which are less than 8. Look for hot star, look which is 4%. Look for duster which is even 2%. So look for those bulls which are better calving ease bulls. Number one. Number two, only these bulls have these scores, the others don't have it. So you don't know what is going to happen. So my idea and my suggestion would be when you are breeding the smaller looking cows, then uh, go for the calving ease score. And if that score is available, I think that can make your job easier and you can choose. There would be no issues of calving at all.
Thank you.
Sir, as you spoke about the spike, is it available, the spike semen now?
Yes, the spike semen is available both in conventional and in sexed. Uh, and the spike is also available with the IVF pregnancies in all three forms.
But it's about the,
Sorry, you're breaking. Please come again.
we cannot see any information about the spike on your website.
Yes, so the website is actually getting updated because of the August sire summary. As I told you that in year 3 times the bulls ranking changed based on the performance of the daughters. It is April, August, and December. So this August sire summary is just finished. So that data is getting refreshed. There are certain bulls which have jumped the order, and there are certain bulls which have fallen couple of ranks. So very soon you will have that updated information and spike would be there. But if you need specific input on this spike, you can contact any of the ABS representative or write to abs.india@genusplc.com. We'll send you that information of the spike, and that information would be latest as per this August, as per the last week sire summary in US.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir. Question.
So,
Actually,
gentlemen, we would just,
if you have got
just
any new Jersey bull to breed the Tyson daughters. Actually, we cannot find any better bull than Tyson for breeding the Tyson daughters.
Keep looking, and next month you will have it. It's going to be the best Jersey bull ever available outside US.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, do you have any example of Jersey cow producing highest in India, like Holstein cow in Kernel?
Oh yes. So I don't know if you know about the last year's PDFA championship. So there are the same farmer actually came second and produced about 42 liters, and the first was ABS Amity daughter. Both were ABS Amity daughters. His was also ABS Amity daughter, about 42, and Honeypreet Rode, he also had an Amity daughter, and I think she gave about 43.6 liters of milk. So both were again highest. This I've used here because this is very recent, June 2020, and it was in the papers. So I used it here. But then the Jersey also produced 43 and a half.
Thank you. Sir, how ABS is following breeding policy or breeding act in India?
Well, we are following as per the breeding policy of the different states. So if the different state allows specific breeds, just to give you example, we were not selling Gir semen in UP till last year, till they changed the breeding policy and included Gir. So now Gir is available there. Or we are not selling Sindhis in Maharashtra because it's not in the breeding policy. So as per the breeding policy of the state, the semen is made available.
Breeding policy will say about keeping exotic level is up to 75%. If you use ABS amendments, it will be more than 75%. How will come back about this?
Well, how will you maintain it at 75%? There are two ways. If you have 0%, that is a pure indigenous cow, and you want to maintain Holstein level to 75%, you will need to buy 100% Holstein bull. Cross it, next generation F1 would be 50%. And then cross that 50% F1 with another 100% HF bull, and then comes 75%. So my job is to create that genetics, and our job is not to go and check what is the blood level being maintained in the in individual animals. So I can give you 100%, I can give you 50%, I can give you 75%, but rest is actually for the people to follow what is the blood level that they want to maintain. And in order to maintain that blood level, first we would have to know what is the blood level of the existing dam. And that is what we don't know. We don't know what is the blood level of which breed in which dam at the moment. Every black and white looking cow will not have similar amount of blood level. It will range from 50 to say 97%, but the physical appearance would be the same. So is there any method to know what is the blood level of the dam based on which you can choose the sire? I am maintaining blood level in the sires. As long as you know what is the blood level in your dam, you can maintain that.
How can we check that blood level, sir?
Well, there are the ways and means to get it checked, and there are again the genochecking and genotyping allows you to check that level, and you can know what is the percentage of which breed there. At least you can go for Holstein and Jersey blood levels there. it's a similar, like even if you want to go and check what is your genetic level, you can spit into a test tube and give that to the labs who run the genomics, and they will tell you what is your genetic lineage, how much percentage you come from India, or which part of India, how much percentage from the other parts of India or the world. And this is known as a genomic journey. So we don't know. I don't know, where my forefathers were 10 generation ago. They could be in south of India or east of India, or north of India. They've come. So if I want to know this, I can and take help of genomic science, which is available. So the same you can do at least for the Holstein and Jersey blood levels.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dr. Gautam.
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
Now
please.
request just to have one last question, please.
Okay,
Any
go ahead.
last question? So I would like to thank all of you for participation and the patient hearing. I am definitely hopeful that you would be benefited out of what has been presented. In case you have any other questions, you are kindly requested to still type them on the dialog box, and we would definitely try to answer them by mail or by message. So thank you very much.